solely for, and now recording, this application is solely for, or this process and workshop is solely for the fall 21 application cycle. So please keep that in mind. The application could be changing in the future, but this workshop is solely for the fall of 21 application cycle to hopefully start the program in the spring of 22. But with those things being said, I think I'm going to have the speakers introduce themselves, and I'm going to start with Ellie.
Good morning. Thank you so much for being here. My name is Ellie Pierce. I'm a pre-nursing advisor at the College of Health Sciences. I'm so glad that you chose to attend this, and I look forward to your questions.
Perfect. And Candace?
Welcome, everyone. My name is Candace Johnson. I'm the Student Services Manager in the School of Nursing. I'm glad you're here, and I hope you get a lot out of this presentation.
And lastly, Dr. Crowell.
Just realized I'm still muted. Hi, everyone. My name is Mary Crowell, and I'm the Director of the Advising Office for the College of Health Sciences. Want to welcome you all to this workshop and thank you for joining us. I'll be monitoring the chat, so there might be some questions that I might answer through chat back to you, or I may hold off on them because that question may be answered later on in the programming session, or we'll wait until the Q&A. All right, thank you so much.
All right, awesome. And now I figured we could probably just get started. The first question you're going to ask yourself is, are you ready to apply? And to answer that question, you need to answer two other questions. The first one being the most important, and that is, have you been admitted to Boise State? The first thing that you want to make sure that you do is be an admitted Boise State student. So you need to have your student ID number and your Bronco email, the u.boise state email, to successfully fill out the application. And if you don't have those things, you can't fill out the application, and the people reviewing your application won't have access to your transcripts and things like that. So you need to make sure that you're an admitted Boise State student first. The next thing you need to make sure is that you meet all the required prerequisites. So some classes need to be completed before you apply, while others can be in progress. We'll talk about those again in a little bit, but just know that there's a little bit of a difference between those two courses. And then lastly, we didn't want to put it on here to confuse you, but we do get a lot of questions about the Kaplan exam. It is not required for this application cycle, so don't worry about it. Don't even have it on your mind at all. You don't need to take it. We didn't want to put it on here to confuse you, but we do get a lot of questions about it. So just know it's not required. You do not need to take the Kaplan exam. But let's talk about what you need to have completed and what you need to meet in order to be eligible to apply to the program. So if you have met with your academic advisor or you have worked through these classes, then you're pretty familiar with this nursing grid. You see here it follows a 3-semester plan. You could have finished these classes in 8 semesters, 25 semesters, or 3 semesters. Really doesn't matter. But what does matter is the time period that you finish them in as far as your application. So to expand on that, the green courses, those green courses being English 101, English 102, Chemistry, whether that's Chemistry 101 or Chemistry 111, Health 207, Biology 227, Biology 228, Psychology, and Statistics, whether that's Math 153 or Math 254. All of those green courses need to be completed this semester before you apply to the program. So maybe you took them last spring, or maybe you took them this last summer. Either way, they need to be finished, and you need to have a grade for that class before you apply to the program. And then we have our blue classes. Those classes can either be completed or be in progress when you apply to the nursing program. So maybe you're taking them this semester, or maybe you already took them. As long as you're at least enrolled in them this semester, you'll be able to apply to the program. And then we have our gray courses. Those courses have a lot more flexibility in when they can be taken. They're graduation requirements, so every Boise State student needs them in order to earn their degree from Boise State, but you don't necessarily need to have them done before you apply to the program. So you need to have them done at some point. We encourage you get a good start on them, but you could realistically have none of them done, or you could have all of them done and still be eligible to apply. So those are the classes that you need to have done, and we also need to talk about some GPAs that you need to meet in order to be eligible to apply. The first GPA that you want to keep on the lookout for is that you need to earn a grade of C or above in every pre-nursing course in order to be eligible to apply. C minus doesn't cut it. You need to have a C or above. And then the next GPA requirement is that you need to have at least a cumulative college GPA of 2.5 or above in order to be eligible to apply. So that encompasses all the courses that you've taken throughout college, whether they're elective credits, foundational credits, or these pre-nursing courses. Every college class, your GPA needs to be 2.5 or above. And now we're going to focus on another set of classes that are really important for your application. And those are the admissions courses. And there are 5 different courses: chemistry, whether that's chemistry 101 or chemistry 111, health 207 being nutrition, both semesters of anatomy and physiology, biology 227, biology 228, and statistics, whether that's math 153 or math 254. So within those 5 courses, you need to have a combined GPA of 3.0 or above in order to be eligible to apply to the program. It's also important to note that within these 5 classes, it's really a main focal point of the application and what the people who review your application look at. So it's really important to do the best that you can in those classes in order to give yourself the best chance to get into the program. But I know that's kind of a lot of numbers that you need to remember, so let's talk about them again. You need to earn a grade of C or above in every pre-nursing course. You need to have a cumulative college GPA of 2.5 or above, and then you need to have a admission GPA, being those 5 classes: chemistry, nutrition, both semesters of anatomy and physiology, and statistics. That combined GPA needs to be 3.0 or above in order to be eligible to apply. All right, well, those are the requirements for the program, and I'm going to pass it over to Candace to talk about the application itself.
Thank you, Jacob. I am going to share my screen now so I can run through this application with you. Okay, so right now we are on the home page for the School of Nursing. That's boisestate.edu/nursing/nursing/. If you go to this home page and you'll scroll down, you'll see the School of Nursing programs. We're going to click on that Bachelor of Science Nursing on Campus program. And then we're going to, from there, we're going to view the program requirements. This page will tell you all of the requirements, all that stuff Jacob just talked to you about. You're going to find it on this page, and you're going to see a lot of it in your application as well. So there's no way you're not going to know what the requirements are. But we're going to scroll down, because down here is going to be that orange button asking if you're ready to apply. So you reviewed those requirements and decided you're ready to apply. Now we're going to apply to the program. This is the application. Applications right now are open. They opened August 1st. They will be open until October 1st. As you're going through the application, you're going to see it's going to start out just general questions: your name, date of birth, your Boise State student email address, and your Boise State student ID number. Like Jacob said, you must be an admitted Boise State student in order to apply. That means admissions has all of your official transcripts, and they have sent you that official letter that you are admitted to Boise State. Then you should also have your Boise State u.boisestate.edu email address, and then also your Boise State ID number. It's very important to know those and have those in there correctly so that they don't delay your application. You're going to add your mailing address, your phone number. This question: have you previously applied to Boise State University School of Nursing? If you answer yes, so if you have been in the program and you left for whatever reason, you probably have a letter or something from when you left. You'll want to submit that letter. There are links at the end of the application to send a PDF, so you can upload it through those links, or you can also email it to nursingadmissions@boisestate.edu, and then we would have it. But it's good to upload that letter. Same here, if your conditional acceptance was revoked, you probably have a letter. If you've previously attended a nursing program at another institution, we will require a letter that states from that institution that states you left in good standing. Usually what we're looking for there is to make sure you weren't in a nursing program and dismissed due to, neglect or something that's harmful to patients and things like that. Have you contacted a Boise State pre-nursing advisor in the last 4 months? I cannot recommend enough that you meet with your academic advisor. You go through the application, you have them review your application, and just make sure that you have all your T's crossed and your I's dotted and you're ready to go. This question, if you have a degree, indicate the level. So if you have a bachelor's degree or higher, and you did not earn that degree at Boise State University, Boise State is not going to have all of those credits in their system, because what the registrar's office does for students, these are also known as second degree seeking or post-bac students, are some other terms you'll usually hear. The Office of the Registrar does not evaluate your transcripts if you come in with a previous degree. The transcripts will be in the system on file, but they don't evaluate them to where they'll filter into our reports. So it's important that you, if you check that you fill out just a little bit down here. I think I have to check it. Down here, you will see the question, did you complete any of the following prerequisite courses at an institution other than Boise State? And I think you'll answer these questions also for even if you don't have a degree. Basically, if you had taken them at another institution, we need to make sure that they are directly equated. So let's say you took Biology 227 somewhere else. You're going to check that box, and then you're going to see that this opens up. And you're going to put the course subject and catalog number. So like at Boise State, it's Bio 227. Maybe somewhere else it's Bio, 100 or something. You would put that in there. Then you would put the university or community college that you took that course, how many credits, the letter grades you received, how many times you attempted that particular course, and whether or not that course was pre-approved by the School of Nursing. So what this is about is if that course doesn't have a direct equivalency to Boise State's courses, you, especially if you've worked with your academic advisor, they've probably sent me an email that said, hey, will this course work for Bio 227? I say, let me check, and I go find out, and then I say, yes, we will take this course. Then you'll have an email, and that is the pre-approval that you will need to submit in those links down below that allows you to submit a PDF. So then you would say, yes, it's pre-approved, and you'll submit that in your application later. If you took all of your courses at Boise State, or they're all equivalent, you would just simply check, this does not apply to me. All of the courses were completed at Boise State. This part of the application does state if you've already been admitted to Boise State, we already have your transcript information. That is true if you've been fully admitted to Boise State, which means you have had your previous institution send your official transcripts directly to admissions. If you've sent an unofficial transcript to your academic advisor to review during your advising session, that doesn't count as an official transcript. Or if you've sent an unofficial transcript to us, that doesn't count either. It's that official transcript that was sent directly from your institution to Boise State admissions. If they have it in their system, we have access to it. So we're going to scroll on down here. So this is the prerequisites in progress, as Jacob talked about, that social course, that microbiology, and that pathophysiology. You are able to have those in progress when you apply. You're simply going to check the box and you're going to tell us what course it is and what university it is in progress. This is a file that allows you to upload documentation for enrollment of it. Please do not upload any transcripts anywhere in this application. You can just show like a screenshot of like maybe your schedule that shows you're enrolled, but we ask that you do not upload transcripts to this file. If you've completed those courses and you already have grades for them, you just simply check the box, I do not have any of these courses in progress. We're going to scroll on down. We are, these are the pre-approved course documentation files. There's several files. You don't have to fill something in those files. They are simply there so that there's several of them so that you don't have to combine everything that you might want to submit into one PDF and upload it. We've given you multiple opportunities to upload something to us. If needed.
Can I let this, I don't know who's at the front door. Can I let them in?
So then we're going to scroll on down. We're getting to the end of that application where it's going to talk to you about things that you need to know if you're admitted to the School of Nursing, and you're going to click a box that says I agree and sign your name to it. That you agree, you understand all of these things that and that you also attest to the fact that everything is complete and correct in your application to the best of your knowledge. But these are some links. It'll talk about your FAFSA, links to Boise State financial aid, student expectations and responsibilities. I highly recommend you take the time to read through all this. Something that students seem to miss, but we have it everywhere. If you are admitted to the School of Nursing, there is a mandatory orientation that is required the Friday before classes begin. That's usually about 6 to 7 hours long. We've been frequently getting students saying, oh, I have this going on, or I have that going on. And we've had to tell students, unfortunately, you've known from the time of application that there is a mandatory orientation. This is non-negotiable. You have to attend. Background checks, health requirements, things like that. If you are admitted to the program, we will send you all the information of how to obtain those, where to go. Don't send us anything ahead of time. Don't go try to obtain a background check on your own and spend the money on that. Wait until you're admitted and we send you the information, and we'll do it all at once. If you had any courses in progress when you applied, for students starting in fall, the deadline for those grades is May 30th. And for this webinar purpose, you would be starting in the spring. So December 30th would be a grade deadline for those courses that you had in progress. And if something's going on, like right now, if we're not, your grades aren't going to be done in time, you just simply email us and we work something out. But yeah, so the rest of the application is you clicking you agree and signing that you've read all that and your application is complete and accurate. There's a demographic information. This is an optional question. Some students think that we look at this for the purpose of the application. We are currently not looking at it or considering it for the purpose of the application. Right now, we are just it's good to have that information so that we know. We're hoping in the future with a more holistic process that we might look at things like that. But just because you answer that, that doesn't give you any extra points on your application or anything currently. Once you get to the end of the application, you can go into this orange button and click submit. But what I would recommend you do is click this save and continue later link. So I'm going to click that link, and as you can see, it gave me a link. Send that link to your academic advisor and ask her to review your application for accuracy. Ask her to look it over, get a second set of eyes to make sure you didn't miss anything, and before you submit it. You'll put your email address in this little box because it'll send that link directly to you. That way you have it. So when your advisor looks it over and she might say, your application looks great, but you forgot XYZ, you can click that link, go in there, fix it, and then submit it. Or she says it looks great, go ahead and submit it. You again use that link, go in there and go through your application one last time and submit it. I highly recommend doing that, and I highly recommend submitting your application early rather than later. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Candace. And I am now going to pass it over to Ellie to talk about the application window.
Thank you, Jacob. Thank you, Candace. Thank you, attendees. We're just going to talk about the process of applying during this semester. The deadline is October 1st. I strongly urge you to have your application submitted in the last week of September. This gives me the opportunity, and I do need 72 business hours to approve or review your application if you send me that link. And then when I tell you it looks good, go ahead and submit, it still leaves the nursing application selection committee a little time to look it over, see if there was something that I missed, and let you know so that you can correct your application. So let's just say you're going to be done with your application, have sent it to me for review, and got my answer back sometime in the last week of September of 2021. Okay, moving on. Pretty much covered this. You'll save your application, you'll send it to me, I'll review it, and if there's anything that needs to be fixed, I'll do my best to let you know, and then you can submit. And if there's anything else that the nursing program needs to know from you, they'll let you know. Okay, moving on. You've submitted. Take a breath. You need to remember, and it says so right in the application, that the Nursing Application Review Committee reserves 4 to 8 weeks from the deadline to make their decisions. Remember that you will get an email with the payment request, which is your receipt for your application being successfully submitted. And during that time, during those 4 to 8 weeks after you submitted, focus on your schoolwork for that semester. But we will also be offering you what we call our parallel plan workshop, which is a great way to give yourself a little more latitude and a little more opportunity to not feel like you're running headlong in a very narrow doorway. So please attend. Actually, you don't even have to attend. It's recorded. And my director is going to put up the link to that recording. Once you've viewed it, if you have questions, you can reach out to whoever is your pre-nursing advisor, or if you have questions that you feel like I can answer better, please don't hesitate. You can reach out to me. Okay, just to reiterate, the deadline for those who are applying to the Bachelor of Science Nursing program at Boise State in this fall semester is October 1st, and that's a drop dead deadline. The rest of these FAQ questions we will be glad to address during the Q&A. And I should mention that WUI and the Treasure Scholarships, which are traditionally offered to non-resident students, are now, if you are a pre-nursing student, you are WUI and Treasure compliant. So no worries, you don't have to be in a different major in order to receive that scholarship. Back to you, Jacob.
All right, so I think now we're going to open it up to the Q&A portion. So I'm going to ask Mary if there are any questions that we can help answer at this time.
Yeah, we have some questions that have came through the chat, and one of them was from Connor. He was asking about the orientation that Candace was mentioning that's mandatory for students who are admitted to the nursing program. He wanted to know if that orientation was this Friday.
Yes. So yes, the orientation is this Friday, and this is for the students that applied to start in fall 21. So those students that have been accepted and are starting this August in our first cohort, that orientation is this Friday. So if you apply to the program and you are admitted during this cycle, your orientation will be the Friday before classes start in January.
Okay, great. So just to clarify, you said that's not for those who are applying this fall, and I said correct.
Correct.
Okay, I got another question from Taylor wanting to know if we register for classes to do a backup plan for spring semester while students are waiting for their admission acceptance. What would you recommend? And let's go with Ellie since she advises here.
Well, first of all, we would have a conversation about what majors are you interested in other than pre-nursing with the intention of applying and being admitted to nursing. And we have a number of them, and you can learn more about them if you will please view the parallel plan video. Then I find that if you've already watched that, it makes an advising session more fruitful. In general, I advise for things like health studies, general emphasis, pre-social work. We have radiologic science and respiratory care, and you can always do a health studies science emphasis if your goal was to then switch over and maybe do application to med school or PA school. It really just depends, and you should know that that's just the College of Health Sciences. And I'm not going to go into huge detail, but this university has a lot of majors. And even if when you and I meet, I can't advise you for the major that you tell me you want to start work on, I will find you references and resources that will help you learn more about it.
Okay, great, thank you. Had another question come through directly to me, wanting to know what the recommended time frame to finish all of your prerequisite classes. Let's go with Candace. Do you have a recommendation of a time frame that students would need to finish all of their prereqs?
Oh, well, so I wouldn't recommend trying to rush it. So like the grid shows 3 semesters. I don't feel there's any reason to try to rush it in those 3 semesters. You could simply spread it out so that you can spend a little more time on the courses. But there really is no secret time frame that you should have to complete them in, I guess, as long as the ones that need to be completed. So those ones that were in the green, you have a grade on your transcript before you apply, and the ones in the blue, they're at least in progress.
Okay, thank you. And Jacob, could you shoot us back to the grid? So we've heard through the grapevine that potentially repeating a class may have a negative impact on your application. Is it worth repeating a class? And let's say it's in one of those admission GPA brackets. So let's ask Candace. Candace, what would you recommend?
Yes. So there are, we don't take away points if you repeat. There are points that you can get if you have minimal repeats. So what I would recommend is, say you have a C in one of those 5 classes that make up that admin GPA. If you're going to repeat it, you want it to make it worth your money, you know? So I got a C in statistics, and I'm going to repeat that because I know that that's going to pull down my admissions GPA pretty low. I'm going to really focus on that statistics class, get tutoring if I need it. And I'm going to really push for an A, because the higher that GPA is, the less that those few points that you would get for not having repeats matter.
Okay, so you would recommend repeating a class as long as you're showing an improved grade and it's significantly improved.
Yes.
Okay. And then there was another question in here for, do you take the highest grade if there is a repeat, or how do you sort that out?
So we follow university policy with repeats, and we take the most recent attempt. So if you had a B and you thought, well, I'm going to repeat it and try to get an A, and you totally flop that semester, unfortunately, we're going to take that most recent attempt.
Okay, the most recent, thank you. And another question, is there a preference given to taking Math 254 over Math 153? Let's have Jacob answer that one.
Yeah, so as far as the application goes, there is no preference given to either course that you take. The real only difference between the 2 courses is that Math 254 tends to carry more weight for graduate school. So let's say you have an aspiration of being a PA in the future, or I don't know, something where you need to go to graduate school. Math 254 carries more weight for you than Math 153 would. But either one is just fine for the application, and neither will give you an advantage if you take one over the other.
Okay, so for the purpose of applying to the nursing program, they're weighted exactly the same.
Correct. Yep. There's no difference as far as the application goes.
Okay, and that is also the same with chemistry?
Yep. Well, there's no weight given to Chemistry 101 or Chemistry 111. Either are just fine, and no preference is given to either for the application.
Okay, thank you. We have another question. If you reapply after not getting in the first time, does it lessen your chances of getting into the program? And let's have Candace answer this one.
No, that does not lessen your chances or improve them. Every student is looked at the exact same every time they apply. So it's like the first time you apply. Right now, and for this cycle, you're looked at your numbers, GPA numbers on a spreadsheet. And that is literally what we're looking at this moment. So don't worry about how many times you've applied. We don't look at any of that.
Okay, thank you. There's another question about pass-fail. If we took a pass instead of a letter grade in one of the 5 admission classes, will that hurt our chances of getting in? And let's have Candace answer this one.
Yeah, so again, with the pass-fail, we follow university policy, and a grade with a P bears no weight in the GPA. So let's say you took a pass in Bio 227. Then when we're calculating that admin GPA, that Bio 227 would be 0 GPA points, and we would just be looking at your other courses. So if you were doing poorly in Bio 227, not poorly, but poorly towards your GPA, so say you were really heading towards a C and you chose to take a P in that grade when the university was offering the pass-fail option, then that potentially helps your admin GPA because you're not going to have that C. You're just not going to have any grade there, if that makes sense.
Okay, so a P basically neutralizes whatever the rest of the grades you have. So it doesn't add or detract.
Correct.
Okay. All right, we have another similar question. If we got AP credit for statistics in high school and it transferred into college as statistics, would that affect the overall GPA for those core bracket classes if it was considered, since it's an AP credit?
Yeah, since it's an AP credit, it's going to come in as a passing grade. So it will be just like the other, it will bear no weight.
Okay. Let me see here. I'm looking at some other ones. Oh, vaccinations. Is the COVID vaccination required for the nursing program?
Great question. So currently our clinical partners are requiring the COVID vaccine. However, right now, and this is just right now, this moment in time, as many of you probably are aware, life with COVID has, things change in an instant. Like what we say today may not be true tomorrow. Right now, this current moment in time, our clinical partners are allowing exemptions for the vaccine. I don't foresee that to be happening in the future as we're seeing more cases and such ramp up. But so the most I can give you right now is at this time, the clinical partners are requiring it, but they are allowing exemptions. It can change tomorrow.
Okay, so currently, if you are admitted into the nursing program, you will need to demonstrate vaccination, that you have received your COVID vaccination. This is if you are admitted to the nursing program, not Boise State, but if you are admitted to the nursing program. And that's required from the clinical partners, like the hospitals and such. Okay, thank you. Also, there was a request to review the email portion of how to save the application to be reviewed before submitting. Would you mind, Candace or Ellie, going over that one more time? You might need to share the website again.
Certainly. Do you want me to do it, Ellie?
Yeah, let's have you do it since you did it in the earlier.
Okay.
And then maybe while Candace is looking that up, I had another question if there was a tool available through Boise State to determine the GPA for the 5 admission courses that maybe Ellie or Jacob or someone uses when they're calculating GPA.
Well, as an advisor, I have access to the same spreadsheet that Candace and her selection committee use. I would simply say that as soon as you know that you are done with the prereqs, if you would like, you should make an appointment with me, or you can send me an email and say, hey, I'd really like to know what my admission GPA is going to be. That's the safest, best way.
Okay.
Great.
And, okay, go ahead, Candace, you ready?
Yeah. So this right here, we're at the bottom of that application. I'm just going to scroll up real quick. So this was the School of Nursing application. You filled everything out. We're at the bottom. We're ready to save and submit, or save or submit. So you have the big orange submit button, and then next to it, you have the link for save and continue later. We're going to click save and continue later. We're going to put our email address in this box and say send link. That will send this link right here to your email address. You can then send that link to Ellie to check on your application. But then you'll also still have access to that link so that when Ellie says you're good to go, you'll go in, click that link. I'm just going to click that link and it'll take you right back to your application. So I'll put my name right there. I'm going to go down, save and continue later. I'm not going to go through and do it through my email on this, but it will send the same link to your email. But I'm going to click this link and show you that there, it's taken me right back where I left off.
Okay, thank you so much, Candace. We have another question. This is probably for Ellie. Do you recommend just sending the link, or would scheduling an advising appointment be better to go over it?
You're welcome to schedule an advising appointment. I think I can answer the question, am I ready to apply, just by looking at the document. I will say again that you should expect it to take 72 business hours to hear back from me.
Okay, and what was the date that you had given when you should be ready to submit everything? The date no later than this date. What date was that?
Honestly, the deadline is October 1st, but Candace and I recommend, and Candace will correct me if I'm wrong, that you try to get your stuff turned in. And that means if you want me to review it, you need to add another 72 business hours on top of it in the last week of September.
Okay.
That just means that it gives people the opportunity, myself and Candace, to let you know if there's something that we still need from you.
Can I add to that?
Yes.
So what Ellie is saying is it's very beneficial for you to submit early, because if we are reviewing your materials early, then we have time to come back to you and say, hey, I don't see where you took Bio 227. Will you please let me know where that course is? And because, we're all human, we might have overlooked a course, there's something, so it gives you time to correct it. If you submit at 11:45 p.m. on the last day of September, right before the application closes at midnight on October 1st, there's less opportunity for you to correct anything than if you submit early and we find it early.
Okay, great. And to note the conversation around making sure that you have all the proper documentation that you need. And one of those that's really important is making sure you have official transcripts. Jacob, would you mind sharing the difference between an unofficial transcript and an official transcript?
Yeah, sure thing. So if you met with your advisor probably asked you to send them, the advisor specifically, an unofficial transcript. This does not do anything except allow us to see what classes that you've taken. It doesn't count toward your student account or your student record. It doesn't go on your transcript at Boise State, anything like that. It's solely for the purpose for us to advise you. What you really need to do is send them officially into Boise State. Usually you do that through the specific college. Let's say it's through CWI. You can go on CWI's website and hit order official transcript and send it over to Boise State that way. An unofficial transcript you can usually just download to your computer, while an official transcript is going to be a more official thing that you'll have to do. Like I said, sending an unofficial transcript to us is solely for the purposes of advising, but an official transcript is something that the nursing program will need to see. And you do that by, like I said, going to the specific college and ordering that official transcript to be sent to Boise State directly.
Thanks, Jacob. And then just to follow up, official transcripts do take longer to be sent, to be received, and then to be evaluated. So it's really important to submit your official transcripts as early as possible. There's usually a small fee attached to it. It's about $5 to $10 to order an official transcript, but you want to do that early. So the nursing program has all the documentation that they need to verify your application, as well as for our office to be able to see and advise you appropriately as well. Do you only have to send an official transcript if you did not do all of your courses at Boise State? Yes, Maddie. If you have taken courses from other institutions, then you would need to send an official transcript to Boise State. If all of your college courses have been through Boise State, we will already have a record of that, so you're good to go. In addition, if you have AP scores, those would count as well for college credit. Those need to be submitted as well officially from the College Board website, which should have been done during your first required advising or orientation in the summer. Let's see here. Do you know, and this is probably, for anyone on the panel, do you know if they, and I'm guessing that's the School of Nursing, take into account your overall college cumulative GPA at all, or strictly just the bracket classes? Let's have Jacob answer this because he did go over this in one of his slides. There's a few GPAs that they look at.
Yeah, let me go back to that slide. So your cumulative college GPA really comes into play for the requirement of needing that GPA to be 2.5 or above. The main GPA that the program looks at is those bracketed 5 classes. And Candace, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe they also look at the cumulative GPA of the green classes, all of the green classes. So those are the 2 main GPAs you want to look at. Those 5 bracketed courses are the main ones they look at, and then they use the other green courses as kind of a tiebreaker. And Candace, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think, okay.
You're correct.
Okay. But yeah, and then the last thing you need to make sure is that every pre-nursing course has a grade of C or above. So those are kind of the 3 they need to look out for.
Thank you, Jacob. Question for, let's see, Ellie. Do all courses that are or were taken at a different institution need a pre-approval document or to go through a pre-approval process that Candace was speaking of earlier?
No. Essentially, if you're applying to the nursing program, we're interested in all the green ones, and we're still on the same slide. We are specifically interested in the green ones that have a blue box drawn around them: Chem, A&P1, A&P2, Stats, and Nutrition. And we are interested in whatever classes you might have in progress that could or do satisfy the blue boxes, which would be microbiology, pathophysiology, and a sociology class. All the rest of it, no, you don't have to document it in any way for us.
Okay, so just to paraphrase, and let me have Candace confirm, the green and blue classes, if they come over on your transcript and they show up and they're equated as biology 227, that's totally fine. If for some reason it doesn't come over as biology 227, but you think you're curious, you think it could, then that's when you would contact your academic advisor to kick off the pre-approval process to see if you can get a decision. Is that right, Candace?
That is correct. If it already comes over, so if you took Bio 227 at any of the Idaho state schools, it's likely we have a direct equivalency because the state of Idaho has direct equivalency in those courses. You're probably fine. If you take them out of state and it comes over as something else, then you may need to question that. But yeah, you only need the pre-approval if it doesn't already come in as a direct equivalency. And once you send your official transcripts to Boise State and the registrar's office evaluate your transcripts, you'll get an email from the registrar's office that says, we've evaluated your transcripts, go look at them. And you can go in and you can see what courses came in and how they came in.
And then if for some reason it didn't come in like you thought it would, then you might reach out to your academic advisor and they would help you investigate that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Also, Candace, if any of the classes, this one is asking about one of the admission classes, but how about any of the classes taken at a different university? Do they have an expiration date here? Do classes have to be taken within a specific time, or can they have completed it and have a grade? Will that be okay?
Yep. Currently, we do not have, we also follow Boise State policy on that as well. We don't have an expiration date on our courses.
Okay, so no timeline that needs to be completed within. All right, thank you. Okay, if you, let's see. One of the questions that I received, will you know if you are admitted to the nursing program, even if you are still taking some of the blue classes before those final grades are complete? If you applied during that semester, yes, you will have a decision while most likely your blue classes are still in progress. What would students need to know about those in progress classes, Candace?
Just continue to do well in them. So what I have seen in the past too is, okay, so first of all, what you need to know about those blue courses is do well. You'll need a C, a C minus or above pretty much in those blue courses. But what I've seen in the past is students knowing that they can have a C minus or above in those blue courses, and then they just letting it go and just doing whatever. And then when they don't get into the program, they when they apply the next time, the grades from those courses were counted in their cumulative, where Jacob talked about that we use that cumulative of the nursing prerequisites, and that brought down their score a little. So yes, you can be admitted while those are in progress, but don't let up on them. Continue to do well. Continue that drive.
Okay, great advice. We have another question. How many students get into the program and how many people apply altogether? Basically, what percentage of applicants are accepted? This is for anyone.
I can take that one. Each semester, fall and spring, 80 students are admitted. As far as how many students apply, there isn't a good average number because we've seen a variety of amount of students apply. We've seen anywhere from 140 students apply upwards to 250 apply. So as far as the acceptance rate goes, it really just depends on how many students apply when you apply. But the number to know is the 80 students accepted each semester. That's going to stay the same there.
And to follow up on that, Jacob, is there any coursework or work that they'll need to do over the summer for the program?
Yeah. Good question. So the way the program's set up right now is there's no required summer courses. Things that you might take over the summer are your foundational courses. So I'm in the program and I currently just took my Foundations of Humanities over the summer. So the last foundational course I needed to finish up. So if you're behind on those great courses, you can take a lot of those over the summer. But as far as the program itself goes, they don't require any summer classes.
Okay, great to know. And also, we've heard through the grapevine, and it's been stated here, that potentially the application process is going to change next semester. Can you talk more about that? And also, what will stay the same? And let's ask Candace.
Sure. So we are excited. We have a committee right now in the School of Nursing that is, it's called the Holistic Admissions Committee. And they have come together and they are trying to make our admissions process more inclusive and looking at the holistic student. Rather than looking at you as a GPA, we're gonna see you. We're gonna see what you've done and with life experiences. If you've been a CNA or anything like any kind of work in the medical field and stuff like that. I don't have specific things. So if you have the opportunity to do some volunteer work or do CNA training and stuff like that, I recommend going ahead and doing those things. Build that portfolio. That way, if you don't get in this cycle, you have some things for the holistic process. What will not change is our GPA requirements and the courses that you have to take. That will all remain the same. We are just hoping to add to the admissions process, adding more things to look at as we choose our next cohort of students. I am not trying, we like to be very transparent. Well, I'm not trying to hide things from you, but there's nothing that I can really say specifically about it right now until it goes through the process of the University Curriculum Committee and we have approval to share that. There will be a webinar like this in November where we will share more about the process for that application cycle.
Thanks so much, Candace. So just to summarize what you said, this current cycle for this, for the fall semester applicants will not change, but for the spring, there will be additional requirements or additional criteria that will be taken into account. The GPA and the prerequisite courses will not change, but there might be some other experiences or criteria that will be considered in the application process. So if students are interested in doing any volunteer work or having that experiential background, you would recommend them doing it not only for the purpose of the potential future application, but also just to get an idea of what the field is like. But at this point, you can't share exact details of what will be counted and how. But by November, there's going to be another webinar that our office will host where you will be able to share those details. Did I get that right?
Correct.
Okay, awesome. Okay, well, I do not have I'm not seeing any other questions come through the chat, but if there are, please send them in. Additionally, I want to thank our panelists, Jacob, Candace, and Ellie, for being here with us today to answer questions. Please know that Ellie Pierce is our awesome pre-nursing academic advisor. Jacob Allen is our awesome pre-nursing peer advisor, and they do a great job answering questions and helping you get ready, set you up in the best position possible to apply. And please make sure to check out that parallel plan workshop recording. It's a great one, just like Ellie said. If you are unsure about the different options that are out there, this is a great place to start. And then if you do meet with Ellie or Jacob, you'll have a more fruitful conversation. In addition, our college will be hosting a Bronco Welcome. This will be outside the Norco patio Thursday, August 26th from 1:30 to 3:30. It's going to be free food. All of our student clubs and orgs within our college will be present there, as well as faculty and other returning students. So this is a great way to get to meet new students, talk to your faculty, get to know the different clubs and orgs and potentially join them if you haven't already. But thank you so much again. And I'm going to toss it back to Jacob.
Awesome. Thank you, Mary. So yeah, like Mary said, if you have any other questions, please contact Ellie. If they're specific about your application, if you have general questions about nursing, you can contact me as well. And then we have some links here to the application, our pre-nursing advising team, and then contact information for our College of Health Sciences advising email. That email is more if you have general advising questions. Maybe you're looking at parallel plans and want to talk to an advisor in health studies, but you don't know who to reach out to. You can email that right there, but if you have questions specifically about nursing, feel free to email either Ellie or myself. But other than that, thank you for joining us. And also one last disclaimer, this application workshop is solely for the fall of 21 cycle. And like we talked about before, we will be making other webinars in the future to talk about future application cycles. But other than that, thank you for joining us. I'm going to leave the screen up here if you want to look at it, take a picture of it, or whatnot. But other than that, thanks for coming, and we will talk to all of you later.